Hey everyone. Hey James, Dave, Steve, DC, and there's Bob. What the heck? Yeah, I having withdrawals because Bob hasn't been doing anything, and I've also been really busy with either beekeeping clubs and rendering wax. Hey Randy, it's like everybody's coming out tonight. Let me go ahead and put up the link. So, all right, there it is, pinned to the top. Anybody want to come in? Come on in. Hey, Russell. Hey, Lisa. So, anyway, how's all your week been, DC? Well, Monday and Tuesday, I got back from a little mini vacation Monday, and I've been rendering some wax, had some orders for some beeswax, got that done, finished up Tuesday. And then Wednesday night, last night, I had my regular uh, bee club board meeting, which goes for about 2 hours, it seems like. So got that done, and I caught up on everything else. So I figured I'd jump on here tonight, see if anybody wanted to come in. Oh, I don't know about that, Randy. But thought I'd get in here and see if anybody wanted to come on, have a chat, and all that. So that's what I've been doing. The bees have been put away. That was another thing. Monday, I had one nuke that had a feeder. There's Mr. James.
How you doing?
Hey, James. Hey, what's up?
Well, I didn't expect to see you on here tonight.
And there's Mr. Bob.
I'm loud, though.
I was going to say I did expect to see him.
Oh, I don't know. I thought I just, I figured I'd be coming on tomorrow night too, but I got
Hold on
tonight.
Well, somebody's
mute me, Charlie.
All right.
Oh, you have no idea how many people wanted to mute you, Bob.
So where did you actually bagged the moose? I know you're on a hunting trip, James.
I did. I put a moose in the freezer, and we put a cow elk in the freezer. What did we end up with? So a moose, a cow elk, and I think there was 3 or 4 deer. So there was how many of us were out there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 6 of us. So everybody got an animal. So that actually worked out really, really well.
Cool. That's good. Bees in the barn, are they?
Absolutely. So Alan, Sheldon, and myself last night spent, we didn't get back here until I guess it would have been about 1:30 this morning. but we got all the apiaries in, all the bees are in the barn, and yeah, so 2023 is wrapped up. Now I got to start the work on 2024.
Yeah. On mine, I got the feeding is all done. I had for the last week and a half to 2 weeks, I was kind of leapfrogging my feeders, my top high feeders and stuff like that on my hives, and all to the ones who were done taking it, took them off, and then whatever was left in that feeder, poured it in the feeders that other hives were still taking down. So that finished that up Monday. And so all the feeders are off. And I don't know whether Bob wants to get on or not.
You want to gamble it away for me? You're going to win now. That's the winner.
Anyway, so the feeders are off and the bees are in the boxes. And next thing I'll be doing is oxalic acid vapor.
Oh, nice.
About once or twice a month from now until February, and up until about. I find that works for me.
You don't try to do it, every 6 or 7 days to catch in between the brood cycles?
Well, what I've done in the past is I started in July after the honey season for me. I did Aprivar for up until September. Then I came behind that with Formic Pro for 2 weeks. Then I fed, and then I do at least once or twice a month, depending on weather conditions, temperature wise, to make sure the cluster is kind of loose, and do OA. And so I had last year I had the National Honeybee Survey take a sampling of my hives and stuff like that. And I came back with a Varroa mite infestation of a 0.2, which is,
I don't even think you can call that an infestation.
Yeah, I mean, that's less than the 1% that they recommend that you try to keep it at. So I'm going to continue on with that program, a mite treatment program.
Absolutely. If it works, stick with it.
Stick with it. No, Michael, he said he's got 1 inch of snow last night.
Yeah, we had, while I was out hunting, we probably had 4 inches of snow, but it's all melted. And actually, last night when we put the bees in the barn, it was perfect because everything was dry. Temperature was right around, say, 0, -1, -2 type thing. So the bees were clustered, fairly nicely inside, and made for a nice, easy move. I think bee managed to get me right on my lip, but that had probably something to do with the lights on the tractor and the headlamp and stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, it went fairly smooth. And they're, what are they sitting at? I think they're last.
Now, in a previous talk, you were saying about you were having going to do some experiments as far as 3 different types of.
I'd say I'm keeping them right around 4 degrees. So,
which is 39 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Bob, you ready to turn the sound on? Okay, he's not ready yet.
So,
but yeah, I was, you were saying you were trying to gather more data on your.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'll do a bit more work on that this year and continue to gather some more data. We'll see how they come out of the barn in the spring. And I mean, now the plans is figure out what direction I want to go here in 2024. So as I mentioned before, I think I'm going to focus a little bit more on honey production, a little bit less on expansion. So getting a box order in and a frame order in, and getting all that stuff ready to go because, well, believe it or not, it's already November 1st. So what do we got? November, December, January, February, March, April. I got 6 months to get all that stuff done. So,
I know you said that you had sold some of your hives off, but then you were in partnership with your friend there.
Correct, Alan. Yep.
and I presume you're growing your hives back to, let's say, around 300 or more.
Or more. Yeah, or more.
And all. And of course, you got help. I mean, when you get that big, you got to have help in order to do it, especially when you got a day job.
Absolutely. So,
And
I
all
was
that.
surprised because we moved them all in last night, and from three different apiaries. We moved them all in. From the time we left the house to the time we got back to the house, everything said and done was about 6 hours. So that worked out really, really well.
And you use the your front end loader. I know, load them on the tractor and stuff.
Yep.
And you still having plans, possibly doing some type of an easy loader machine?
Absolutely. Stay tuned.
Good.
Yep, stay tuned.
All right. I think I'm far enough from the music now.
So,
How are you fellas doing?
good. Enjoyed your videos of the of the Gulf front, I would say, not the ocean front.
Oh yeah, we're just kind of hanging out, and we don't really have a timeline, right? We don't have anything planned that we just have to go do or anything like that. We're just, except for the show tomorrow, but other than that, everything else is kind of just what we want to do. We want to sleep in, we sleep in. We want to get up and go lose some money in the casino. We go lose some money in the casino. But we've been doing a lot of eating. So that's been a thing. Like, we were just at the Golden Nugget down here. So
And that's the casino, correct?
yeah. And then that building right there behind my head is Margaritaville. And Harrah's is across the street. And then way back there, I don't know if you can see the blue lights back there.
Yeah.
Blue and green. That's the Hard Rock where we're staying. In my truck right there. So we're just enjoying some time, and unwinding, which is with all the stuff that was going on with the swarm lure and all the other stuff. We needed it. We just needed some time to.
So what's the temperature down there right now?
Oh, it's not bad. It's probably 60 right now down here, but back home it got to 30 degrees last night.
Yeah, we had a hard frost here in Maryland today, this morning.
Oh, you guys are getting there like. Oh.
But no snow. Now they're calling for snow out in western Maryland in the mountains, but other than that,
you guys need to come up and spend the winter with me here in Grand Prairie. Then you'll know what winter's all about.
You got 2 foot of snow up there, James?
No, we got nothing.
Nothing.
We got absolutely no snow. Like I said, we moved the bees last night, dry. It was freezing, but everything was dry, and now in the next few days, we're going to get hit. So they're saying freezing rain, freezing drizzle, snow. I think the high is it's below freezing every day for the next 2 weeks. So we're pretty much into winter. I think we moved the bees at the perfect time.
That sounds good to me. That's better than what Ian did as far as being out in the middle of the snow, trying to break all the snow off where he was at.
So
where are you at now, James? At home?
I am sitting in my office. Yep.
In your office, in your house, or at work?
In the office in the house. Yep.
I see.
So
yeah, it's going to get up into the 60s the rest of this week and all. And like I say, the bees haven't really been flying, and just trying to, like I say, wait for the temperatures to be right so I can do an OA and all that.
Well, the one thing, what did I do today? Getting ready to say goodbye to my old pickup truck. So I was busy getting things cleaned out of that and everything as my new one came in there this week. So I went and picked it up with my daughter there.
You have to go
yesterday. No, day before. Sorry, day before. So I picked it up on Tuesday.
Right. Where are you headed, Bob? Back to the park?
Yeah, back to our hotel. I just got to turn around, funky one-way streets. You northern guys know all about going one block this way to turn around and go one block back the other way. One north, one south.
We just turn around right in the middle of the road up here.
Yeah, you don't have Mississippi police officers. But we're heading back there. I haven't caught a live stream this week or anything. I've done a couple live streams, but little short ones, but haven't been on really any streams. And I haven't went back and watched the stream team last night. I want to go check that out. I guess there was some discussion about the tablet on there, so I want to hear what had to be said about that. And this is what I can say about the tablet is everybody that has used it seems to be getting good results. That's all I can say. We've been getting positive feedback. My bees look good. Some mites are dying. That's never a bad thing. And bees just look really good with it, And so, again, I don't know what the complaints could be. I mean, if you're not going to use it, just don't buy it. And if you use it, you should be pretty happy about it. So it's one of those things, that there's
Tuesday night, Tim and Hannah filled in.
Yeah, I see that. You guys are picking up my slots like I do all the time.
See, and I haven't been on a live stream probably in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, if not longer.
Yeah, at least I think. Well, you've been in the hospital too.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better, so that's a good thing.
You've been in the hospital, I know, and then you went out for your hunting trip and stuff, and that kind of thing.
Got to fill the freezer.
You got to build a freezer?
No, fill it.
Fill.
Oh,
Fill it.
I was about to say, all you got to do is set it out in the snow. It'll be froze till next spring.
Yeah, Russell Koopman. Yeah, James's bees are all in the barn.
Let's see. We got to be there at 6:30 in the morning to set up.
Hey, here you go, Bob.
I can't read it. So
all right, Russell Koopman. He says it was funny last night. Greg was, what is that? A gash with thymol, AGHAS.
I think it's supposed to be against.
Against. I don't know, with thymol in the epitaph, but yet loves it in his hive alive. LOL. Oh, against, I guess is what it means.
So
yeah, it's there's that's selective selective
marketing.
That's it. I mean, that's the only thing I can figure, guys. Here's my thing about it. Neither one of those guys that were on the chat last night are using it. So what can they say about it? They don't know anything about it. They haven't tried it. So my thing is try it and you'll see for yourself. I mean, I've got people in Ohio that are messaging me, Indiana, here in South Carolina, Todd out in California, and all over the place.
I've been out of this. So what's the big controversy over it?
Oh, where to start? That it's a supplement, but yet it kills mites. So they're saying there's it's illegal mite treatment, but yet everybody goes off label on everything. So it's a little bit of a controversy from that end. But
why is it an illegal treatment if it's a supplement? If it's a supplement,
they were just trying to badmouth it, James, is what it amounts to. And I'm not much on English here, but DC says Bob's wife is right. a gash or whatever, how you pronounce it, is it means to be frightened by. I think it's not
Oh,
frightened by, but I think it's being fact that Greg doesn't get any commission to sell it. That's why. Hey, Ian. Good to see you.
You know, people should, and this is part of the thing I guess that frustrates me a little bit, is people should be happy if there is call it a supplement, call it a treatment, call it whatever you will out there. But if there's something that's going to kill mites, and from what I understand, and I haven't looked into it, so I do have some of those tablets up here, however, but I haven't had a chance to use them. But, if there's nothing in there that is different and it's a supplement, just happens to kill mites, great. From my understanding of both, the only thing that's in there is thiamol. Like, I've read through the ingredients as best as I can, and I don't see anything in there that is stopping anything. And now I have a sleeve of those that I'm going to be dropping off out to the Beaver Lodge Research Center. And they're not going to tell me what's in them or anything like that. What they're going to tell me is they're going to tell me how the bees do off of them. So I'm interested to see what that data is. But I mean, I just don't understand why. I don't understand why people are so quick to put something down due to a financial gain that they may or may not get. It just frustrates the hell out of me.
Now, Russell,
well,
thiamol isn't regulated, is it? And then he says they throw a little in a lots of bee products and stuff. And it's true. It's in a lot of bee products.
well, the EPA doesn't rate. Matter of fact, thanks to one of the other miticide companies, they actually submitted an exclusion to the EPA that says that there are no harmful effects that can be within honey from thiamol. So they excluded it from the list of harmful chemicals, I guess, or whatever for the hive. So there is no limit on the amount of thiamol that the government says that you can put in the hive. So if that's the only thing that the big, well, it's where it's a matter of semantics, I guess. What I'm saying is that they're saying, "Up, it kills mites, so it's got to be a miticide." Well, yeah, but so the same product is in Hive Alive, and there's no issue with that product for some reason. But and then it hasn't been tested and it hadn't been verified by who? Who's got to verify it? When I look at my own colonies and I put it in there, I'm verifying it for myself. I don't need anybody else to tell me what's happening in my colony because I'm looking at it. So, I mean, that's my thing. I've got, like I said, I've got people. There's all kind. I'm not saying use it as a mite treatment. Never has that been said. What I'm saying is use it as a supplement. And if you can overwinter, let's use this for an example.
But Bob, it is a supplement, isn't it?
It is a supplement. That's how it's sold, as a supplement. So if you can hit it with oxalic acid, let's say, James, you go through your colonies, you hit it with oxalic acid, and then you put an Appy tablet on. All right, you've already treated your mites. Now, whatever the tablet does is just a cleanup in the colony. It's not not the magic bullet necessarily. However, a lot of us have had good results in seeing drops that I would have never seen. First of all, if I hadn't put that bottom board on there with the oil in it, but just seeing it. I mean, I'm not trying to debate anybody on it, but what I am saying is, of the people in the conversation, I'm the only one that's tried it. So I'm the only one that can speak intelligible on what's happened to my colony.
Interesting. Well, like I say, by the sounds of it, it's a financial, political crap show. I don't know how else to put it.
It's bottom line of it is they're denouncing it because they're not getting financial gain out of it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, we're all in business to make money. Absolutely. We're all in business.
Yeah, but the bottom line of it is we're all beekeepers. We're all trying to keep our bees alive. whether it be through supplements, the different treatments that are available to us out there. It's like OA, the EPA says we're supposed to give 1 gram per brood box. We already know prior to our government legalizing it for our hives, but through the EPA, that the Europeans had already figured out that 2.25 grams per brood box was the best amount or the minimal amount in order to kill the varroa mites, the most effective, I guess, or the least with the least amount. And we're underneath of that now. And they're trying to up that amount of OA per hive body to make it legal at 2 or 3 grams, whatever they're trying to do.
Well,
but how many years does that take,
Yeah, the University of Florida, I think they actually went online and they were saying too that they figured it needed at least 3 grams, didn't they, per
sure.
3 to 5, I think is what they suggested. But I mean,
well, the Europeans came out 10 years ago or more that they figured out at 2.25 grams per hive body is the minimum that they need to be effective in killing mites.
So,
but anyway, that's,
politics.
it's just politics.
Politics get.
I'm not here to, to worry about all that garbage. It's,
let's all of us.
Huh?
I said, me neither. I mean, it's just, I guess the only frustrating thing for me with it is we've always heard and always use, it's just another tool in the toolbox. Just something else that we can use to help our bees, right? It's not hurting any bees, just something to help. And, there's all room at the table and this and that. But for some reason they just got, I say there's definitely and I think part of it is brought on by Mite's English being his second language, right? Some of the wording on the packaging and stuff like that, like super zone, I mean, you can nitpick anything apart if you want to. I don't choose to. I mean, I've got 9 cases of these things in the back of my truck back here. 9 boxes in the back seat. My skin's not breaking out. I don't have thymol poisoning. There's nothing going on back here. It's not burning my eyes to drive down the road. Nothing like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully, if the people, and we sold a bunch of them. So, the people that are using them, they're seeing what's happening, the drops and stuff like that. So, hey, if they choose to use it, great. If they don't choose to use it, also great. That's their decision. It's their bees. And all I know is it's working for mine at this moment. So, and that's about all I got to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say.
Yeah. Perfect. I think I'll probably be using it next year around July when I get the honey supers off and all that stuff.
Well, I'm interested. Like I say, I received mine a little bit too late from Mite to put them in and give them a shot. But I will be giving it a shot in the spring, and we'll see what it does. I mean, I've like I say, I've got a few other tests that I'm working on here too. So, boy, if they figure these tablets are controversial, they would string me up. That's for sure.
Well, it's old. Here's the thing, though. This is where I'm saying. So you're testing some things on your own.
Absolutely.
Right. But does that make your test invalid because it wasn't tested by certain people? That's kind of my thing. So I tested them in my yard, like the tablets. I saw what they did. I put it on video. People saw what happened. But that's not a test. It's not a test unless certain people do that test and say it. Oh yeah, this is what it is. So that's kind of where my gray area is. I mean, same thing with you. So if you try something, James, and you test it, and you see what happens with your results, is that going to sway what you do either way or not?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to sway what I do, because if I don't get the results I want, I'm not going to continue.
Right. But if you get good
Now,
results.
right now, having said that, I mean, I did a bunch of these things last year, and I didn't keep very good data, and I didn't have a controlled or a control group. So I have all of that this year. Now, everybody's been asking me what I'm doing, and I haven't told anybody. And you know what? I'm not going to. There's nothing stopping everybody from doing something else. Now, depending as to what I find and what these things come out to, absolutely. If I find something that works, and well, let's say it's mite treatments. If I find something that works really good for mite treatments, well, I'm going to share it with everybody. Whether they choose to do it or not, that's completely up to them. But I mean, it'll be a tool, like you said, a tool that you can either choose to use or not use. Now,
Right.
I do want to put out there, though, I am very, very particular. So I don't do any of that with any honey supers or anything like that on. I stay strictly to what the Canadian Food Inspection Agency and stuff like that says I can and can't do when I have the honey supers on. So I stick very strictly to that. I don't want to compromise. I don't want to get anybody sick. I don't want to put anything in my honey that isn't 100%, edible, things like that. So, I mean, I'm very, very cautious there, and I don't muck around with that at all. So.
Well, guys, I am getting ready to hop out of the truck, and as soon as I do, this music from the Hard Rock's going to start playing. So I'm going to hop out.
Hail high.
And
no PhD for me.
I appreciate you guys, and I'll continue to watch. I just won't be on the stream.
Oh, well, have fun down there, Bob.
Oh yeah, a couple more days, and we'll be headed home.
There you go.
Cool.
Oh, say hi to life.
All right, we'll do. Thanks.
Hey, all right.
Bye.
See ya.
And I think maybe Flower Street Farm said it right. It's a field study. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing a field study.
Yep.
I want to see what's going to happen, right? So,
it's just like with me, as far as when I treated my mites, I've come up with a plan with 3 different products. And, I thought originally that in the past, I would do 2 treatments a week with OA all the way to the end of October before the time change. And I thought I was killing the mites as they're coming out of the cappings and stuff like that. And I had like a 50% lossage on my nukes because of that. At least that's what as I look backwards to that. And, now some people think that Apricard, I know that there's one beekeeper stated that the newer stuff seems to be working versus the older stuff. And the only thing we discussed was the strip. It seems to be different. I know it's easier to tear, but the strip itself, instead of a hard plastic, it's more of a pliable, softer plastic.
Yeah.
And kind of rubbery-ish. And maybe that's a different delivery method that the company has come up with. And if it works, hey, that's great, and
that's what Hail Hives here said too, right? We all do what works for us, and we learn from each other. Give it a try. Some yes, some no, some move on. Some of the stuff that I'm doing, who knows? I might kill 25% of my bees this winter. I hope not.
I hope not.
But
I know that your
right?
your brood patterns are marvelous. I mean, just carpet brood all the way across on multiple frames and things. That's just unreal.
Well, I think that's part of my breeding too. So I've been breeding them now for 5-6 years or whatever, so I focus on those kind of patterns, those kind of genetics, and it's working for me. So, I mean, I'm going to continue to do what's working for me. Right.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've been fortunate or lucky or whatever. I have seemed to have good results as far as getting my bees through the winter and stuff like that. And I know I've listened to some of the local groups clubs that I belong to, and I just kind of shake my head to a certain extent where, and these are like 2 year. I mean, some of them have been beekeeping for a while, and they talk about, well, I left, 40, 50 pounds of honey on back in August or September, and now it's pretty much gone. And I'm like, well, aren't you going to feed liquid, And they're not, they didn't. And now to me, it's too late in my area. And pretty much every,
if they're not temperature controlled or something where they can evaporate that off and get rid of that water, it's going to hurt them. That's for sure.
that's right. And
or they're going to end up with mold and mildew and everything like that inside the hive, which will hurt them as well. So
I look at them, they're going to starve to death. But now I do have some of my keepers in my club. They seem to like to, as I call it, kind of play in their hive throughout the winter, and it's like, well, put sugar bricks on or put fondant on. And I always kind of looked at that as more of an emergency food that the bees had blown through their stored sugar water honey or regular honey.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. I mean, I have used sugar bricks, but that would be like in mid-February just to get them through until springtime, which is around the end of May or end of March. End of March, 1st of April.
Yeah. My bee barn looks a little bit different this year because I had to go much higher. So in most cases, the hives are stacked taller than I am. And obviously many more rows and stuff in there too. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. Like it's that's part of beekeeping though. Always try to do something better. Make sure you're paying attention to what your bees are reacting to, whether it's positive or negative, and then make a decision and go from there. Stick to your plan. Always stay to your plan, but you got to be ready to respond to what the bees are trying to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, feeding wise, I always like to use the sugar water. It's easier for me to mix myself, and I've got set up with a tank system and a pump and all that. And some people have problems with top high feeders about bee drowning. Yes, I had some issues. You always have a few issues. Either it's a bunch of dead yellow jackets, which I don't really care, or I care if there's any honeybees in there, and you'll get a few of those. But I've kind of figured out how to do it. Hey, Mark, and come on in, Mark, if you can. Mark must be out on the tractor and trailer driving.
Oh, I'm going to calm down and I may come in. What got him all worked up?
Yeah.
James, how many hives do you have in the bee barn this year? About half of what I thought I was going to be putting in there. We'll just leave it at that for now. Half of what I thought I was going to be putting in, but more than twice what I put in there last year. So we'll just we'll leave it at that.
But what I was going to tell you. I like the way I like to beekeep as far as the winter thing is I like having that winter break, and I pour the sugar water to them till they stop eating. I know they got good amount of food to get through the bulk of the winter, and I don't have to worry about them and about check-in or anything like that, except for, like I say, when I gets up close to around February, that's when I kind of peek in. Weather might be breaking a little bit on a few days here and there, and then and that kind of stuff. I mean, I do have one little nuke. It's only a 5-framer, and there's Mr. Todd. He's up in, well, it's still daylight out in California.
Oh, hang on, my microphone.
I can hear you.
Yeah, my earpiece is not working. All right. So I'm out at it's a kind of a farmer's market type thing, and I have to go because my battery power is dying. But let me switch my camera.
See, you guys used to laugh because it's daylight all the time. But look, it's dark up here.
Yeah, he's in California there. I would think they would.
So anyway, I have a little setup here. Oops, sorry. My daughter's helping me for right now. I'm selling a lot of honey like crazy.
That's
And
cool.
creamed honey too is going fast. So,
What type of creamed honey you got, Todd?
so on the right-hand side is cinnamon, and then I have peanut butter on this side. Then I have
Really?
my 1 pound. Huh?
You got to send me that now.
Well, I need to make a better batch of peanut butter, but it's good. It's not as peanut buttery as I thought it was when I made it, so I'll need to add a little more to it.
Okay. Is that a peanut butter? Is that powder flavoring of some sort?
Yeah. What Carl uses is a little different than what I got. I already ordered it when he said what he uses, because I think he said he just goes to Walmart and gets the Walmart brand of peanut butter powder.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know they made that kind of stuff, but
I didn't either. So anyway, so that's what I used, and then and you're on the camera, by the way, honey. And then the cinnamon is organic powder.
okay.
So, and then I did all this on the spur of the moment. So I have this honeycomb design. I didn't buy a big enough piece of it. Then I made these up with it's a Linktree QR code that links to all 3 of my websites or social medias, and then Venmo, and then Cash, of course.
What is that? Where you put your phone on to give you information or something, or what?
So someone could come up and they could scan that, and then it would take them to my YouTube page, Facebook page, or Instagram page, and they go from there.
Do you have any other flavored honeys there, Todd, or just your peanut
No,
butter?
I'm trying this one. Well, trying my hand at it, and that's what I came up with was cinnamon and peanut butter.
And that's in your creamed honeys?
Yeah, it's creamed honey.
So anyway, my help left, and so they have like a little food court out here. This right outside the building that I work at. Well, I don't work at this building, but it's the organization's building, and it's an old downtown. Not much to it here, but old buildings. But they do this every month. So,
There you go.
Anyway, there's all kinds of little things going on in the courtyard, and
if you'll share, Todd,
I'm actually at the front door.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, if you're willing to share, Todd, send me your recipes. I'll send you down what I got. But I got 30. I got about 30 gallons of creamed honey that is in the works. They're basically in the midst of getting going here right now. So the only reason I had it stop at 30 is I didn't have a larger container. But all of that is going to go into flavored honeys here. So always something new. I'll have to get your. I guess I could get your address from Brad. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do something like that. That's not a problem.
So which is your best selling regular liquid honey? Your Blue Carl?
No, I'm not. All of this is Wildflower. I have 1 bucket of Blue Curl. I'm going to milk for the next 6-8 months.
Okay.
And I'll produce a lot more than well, depending on the rain, but next year I'll produce a lot more than I did this year because I'll be ready for it. So.
Well, I'll send you down a recipe for lemon pepper honey. It works really, really good on wings, chicken, or salmon or anything. Oh man, that is right out of the container, right onto the barbecue. It works really, really well.
Nice. And I want I'm going to make a hot honey, but I just haven't started it yet. So I'll have one of those offered out here sooner or later. Well, listen, guys, I got to get moving because my battery's dying, and I better get behind the table. So I better do something, right?
Yeah.
Hey, get to work, will you?
Yeah, I know. My daughter's looking at me funny, like, "Come on, Dad, get over here."
My daughter says, "Forget it. Sell your own damn honey."
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm afraid is going to happen if I don't get behind the table. But anyway, so I just want to jump in real quick and say hello.
So
Say hello to everybody out there.
is that the cowgirl daughter?
No, no, that's my younger daughter. This is Hannah. She's my older daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I will catch up with you guys later on. And
See you tomorrow night, maybe.
yes, I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. I should be there.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right.
See
All right.
ya.
Take care, guys. See you later.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
So what else you got on the go, Charlie?
What else is going on? Not. Oh, I went to Virginia last weekend, and I stopped by Jarrett, the Beehive Homestead, and was able to talk to him for about 20 or 30 minutes. And he is expanding. He's got 2 yards. He got his yard at his house. He's got 1 out yard. I think he had somewhere around 60 hives now. And he quit his regular day job per se, and he's doing cutouts and kind of like what Randy McCaffrey does as far as cutouts and then repair work with the carpentry type thing. If they, so choose to do that. Some of them, he said that they have their own carpenter or whatever.
Got her. Oh, I was wondering because with 60 hives, I was thinking, man, that's going to be tight.
Yeah, that's what I kept saying to myself and my friend. We were together and we were thinking about, things like benefits, and he's got a young family and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not really sure just how he's making it. But anyway, and I want to take a minute here. If Brian from Flower Street, I got your package. I got the candle. It's in good shape. And I got the creamed honey. And I haven't sampled it yet. I was kind of, but everything is looking good and all that. So I want to let you know that.
Lemon ginger. That sounds interesting.
Lemon ginger honey is great for the cold season.
I wonder what they use for the ginger in there.
Let's see. Flower Street. Let's see. Here we go. I'm going to use. He's going to use peanut butter fit for my peanut butter creamed honey.
What do we got? We got 46 people out there watching.
Yeah.
If people want to send me their recipes, I mean, I'll reciprocate to anybody who wants to send me some of their recipes for some of this stuff. But I'm always looking for something new up here, and I mean, I'm 5 hours away from anybody else really up here that's doing a bunch of this. So I'm always looking for something new. But you can find
Brian Brian from Flower Street there. He seems to be as I consider him, the expert when it comes to cream honey and flavors and things like that. He sent me some, it's chocolate honey. It's cocoa mix. He does powdered ginger and all that kind of stuff. That's what he was just saying there. But around here, we have to have, you got to have the cottage industry powdered cocoa. And,
well, I mean,
you got to have a commercial kitchen for us to be able to do that in my state.
Yeah. Well, we have to do that up here too. Joys of having friends with commercial kitchens.
Yeah. Anybody else would like to come on? How about you, Brian or Russell or whoever's on tonight, Randy? keep it going here. I'll stay on to about 10 o'clock tonight, Eastern Standard Time. Then I got to jump off. And then I'll see you all tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But
there, I just threw my email up there for anybody who wants to.
Okay, there it is.
Oh, Lee's calling it a night already.
Yeah, Lee's already going out of it. How about that?
Is he still running crane?
I think so. He was running a bulldozer there for a while and beating himself to death on that thing.
Crawler, forward and backwards, forward and backwards.
Well, the way I understood, he was going around in circles, and there was some guy.
Well,
and he had a helper there that had to walk the perimeter as a safety guy, and he said that all we did was run around in circles all day long.
Well, I've been off for a week and a half. I don't go back to work until Monday, so I still I got a bunch of catch up. My shop is a disaster. I got to get that cleaned up. My garage is a disaster. I got a few more barrels of honey I got to get shipped out. It's just
well, how's that doing for you? I see, Brian. Yeah, you're making espresso honey. Something else is interesting.
Oh,
that's
that
fine.
would be interesting too. But
Brian's got all kinds of good ideas.
Yeah, I was going to say honey sales are going good.
I mean, you're doing a lot of bulk sales, and you said that you're able to pretty much sell all your crop this year yourself.
So a little bit north of 15,000 pounds, and I probably only got 5 or 6 left down there. So
really,
things are going very well.
You sold 10,000 pounds of honey already.
Pretty close. Yeah,
that's just so. I can't even fathom that idea. But
well, I'll tell you, I was a little concerned. I was thinking, because I didn't get my I guess in October, so I haven't heard back from the co-op here yet. I did send in my my submission or my request, but I haven't heard anything back from them yet. And I was a little concerned. I was thinking, how the heck am I going to get rid of all of this honey? But what I'm finding right now is I'm getting lots of requests now for smaller jars for people around town that make Christmas baskets and things like this. So, I mean, that's going just absolutely awesome too. In fact, I put in I put in an order of jars this morning, of which I thought would take me through to pretty much the Christmas season. And I have orders for all of those by about noon, and I just put in another order this afternoon. So things are going very well. So,
well, I guess a good portion of those bulk sales is by the barrel.
By the barrel or by the 5-gallon pail, yeah.
Oh, okay. Steve there, he sounds like an interesting flavor. How about raspberry honey, creamed honey?
We're ready. That might be good too. See, I was thinking of some of these flavors that go in some of these specialty teas is kind of what I was kind of thinking for and then shooting for. But of course, I've tried to mix up some smaller batches of some of this stuff to see what it tastes like. I've thrown a little bit of honey away too, because it just doesn't turn out very well at all. But rhubarb, I like rhubarb. That might be a good thing.
I don't know
how I'd get the rhubarb in there. I try to use anywhere I can. I try to use raw, and I'm not going to say organic products because I have a bit of a hiccup with these people that say they're selling organic honey.
Yeah.
I can't control where my bees go. I don't know how anybody else can. But how much does a bucket of honey go for? It depends on the size of the bucket. So
I think we're talking 5 gallons US.
A 5-gallon pail is I'd have to go and take a look, but just shy of $500.
Okay. Yeah, it's about 600 here. Hey, David Hoskins, welcome. But
957. So
yeah, Steve has a Heinz 57 honey. Yeah. All right, Steve, I'll send me your address. I'll send you some few flavors. Okay, Steve. I'll have to
insert my address here so I get it instead of Charlie. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to keep up on anybody, unfortunately. I mean, I did manage to put a short up there last night. I got a video of moving the bees into the barn I'm going to be putting up here. Because I'm off tomorrow, I'll probably sit down in front of the fireplace and finish editing it and get it up.
Right.
I still owe Alex a video there on that little queen cell carrier. So it's just been a busy year, like I said, to really get much of anything done. So, but now things are starting to slow down. Not a whole lot to do in the bees. They're in the barn there, so there's not a whole lot I can do. I either gave them what they needed or I didn't, in which case I can't change either one. So
yeah, Steve, I'm gonna send my address in the private chat, mailing address.
Did you order a lifter, Charlie? Maybe I'll have to send you a slightly used lifter next spring here if everything goes well.
Are you going to come down to Kentucky?
You know what? I was debating that one. So I was just talking that over with the wife. I mean, if I went down, I flew down last time. Flying was a disaster. I could have drove back quicker. So with my old truck, I wouldn't have done that. But with the new one, I'm contemplating it now. So I am going to, I don't know how many of the viewers know. So am I going to try CO2?
Can't answer that, Randy.
But
Daisy, Steve, my mailing address is in the private chat. And I'll tell you what I'm doing is if you can send me some of your creamed honey or even your regular honey, what I'm doing is getting different honeys. In February of next year, our club having a honey tasting, and these flavored creamed honeys is I think will be a big hit because most people around here don't know what creamed honey is or even flavored honey, and stuff. So appreciate whatever you can, do for me.
But anyway, so like I was saying, I wouldn't have drove down to Kentucky with my old truck, but my new truck, now that it's got lots of miles still on it, I might just have to pop down there. I know Brad was interested too, so I haven't had a chance to talk to him.
I'd love to see Brad come on down.
I did send him a picture of my new truck today and let him know he's probably quite happy that my new truck not only has air conditioning, it's got cooled seats too. So I thought he'd get a kick out of that.
Yeah, you could throw that hive lift in there. I'll be interested in buying it from you. And I got I haven't received any other. I got to talk to Bob about this. About I've received a little like $440 some towards your bee 4-H club.
The 4-Hers.
Yeah, but they still, it's right there, $650. It was people donated, and I'm like, where's the rest of it at? And they don't seem like. What are they? It doesn't, they keep saying I only have $30 some in there. And I'm like, no, I don't. It should be another thing. So I don't know. I'll have to get Bob to see how I can challenge it or.
Yeah, no worries. Like I say, let me know. I gave the 4-Hers that money already. So
I know, but I if anything, I'll just see you at the Kentucky situation and we'll take care of business there.
There you go.
And forget about the checks and all that crap.
Yeah, no, it was introducing the 4-Hers to YouTube and everything that the YouTube community did there. It blew them away. So I like I said, when you let me know what the dollar value was, I just cut them a check. they're all happy, and they're putting it to good use. So they've already looked at purchasing some boxes and stuff like this for next year. So that'll all be really, really
how's your number one helper doing?
My number one helper?
Yeah,
Alex?
the young girl that's really
Kara.
jumped right in there.
She's doing awesome, actually. So she, I honestly think she's got a future in beekeeping. So, her mom and stuff was saying that they were having a hard time trying to find something that really piqued her interest, and she dived in there full bore. So she will.
I know she does. I mean, she was in your videos, and she was. You were saying, you didn't really have to go behind her, and she was recognizing queenless hives, and I mean, the girl has really
picked
it up leaps and bounds about what what she's looking for and all that stuff.
Well, there will be an offer for her if she wants to join me next year. Absolutely. So she, she's picking it up really, really good. So, she's going to do a little bit of queen rearing next year too. So she had some questions and stuff about that. And actually I've talked to Bob too, because I've had lots of questions about, raising queens and queen rearing and stuff like that. So, we're putting together something that I think the YouTube community might like, and that'll be a queen rearing course, a live queen rearing course on here.
I would be interested. I mean, when it comes to queen rearing for myself, I've been at it for 3 years. Weather's been playing a little bit of a hampering into me the last couple of years, and in time it seems like, and setting up the cell builder, I think, is my biggest downfall. Now, learning how to graft and all that kind of stuff, no problem. I have the incubator and all that, no problem. I got all my timing down, and stuff like that. But getting those cells, nutrition wise, and get them to cap and all, and have a high, the first year or two, I was doing, 80, 90%. Last couple of years, you're trying to graft in April, which is sort of cool, like mid-April. And but one thing I did learn with is it Gerald or something like that, Tennessee Beekeeper or something like that. Anyway, he put out a video. He's only got 4 or 5 videos, and he was showing how he did it. Basically, he put the cell bar in. I think he put a frame of pollen on one side and a frame of nectar on the other. The rest of the frames were completely empty of anything except for wax. I believe he had a feeder in the hive, a frame feeder. And I think he took that's what it was. He made a queen excluder. He brought the bees up that were nurse bees onto some brood. Then he took those bees and shook them outside and let them walk in to the bottom hive, because it was a Bob Benny method, where
I was just going to say, sounds like what Bob
does it, and he had a very high success, but because when he pulled out that frame, it was packed full of bees, because that's all they had to focus on.
Yeah, so in order to do that, he's either using a double screen board or a cloak board.
He's doing a double screen.
Got her. So most people don't realize queen rearing. So just to answer the one question, yeah, I do sell queens. I haven't sold any internationally. I just actually my queens disappear pretty quickly up here. But most people don't realize queen rearing starts long before the day you graft. And what we're looking at doing is I'm going to be setting it all up right from the beginning. So here's some of the equipment that you're going to need. Here's the commitment that you're going to have to put in. Queen rearing is not something that you can do this week and forget about tomorrow. It just doesn't work that way. There are different ways to do it. We're looking at going through a bunch of those too, but I start queen rearing, I'm going to say, shortly after the pollen comes in, because when you going through a hive and you find that absolute frame that's packed with pollen, man, that's golden. If you're going to be raising queens, I have no problem robbing that from a hive that's got lots coming in. I'll rob that frame, and that frame is destined to go into my queen rearing operation. Those are the things that I'm looking for. And the same thing when I get closer to it, those frames that have that open nectar and stuff on there, that fresh spring nectar, that too is golden. That's going to go on the other side. So
I think that's been my problem, is that I don't prep that cell builder early enough, where I'm trying to take a nuke box and I'm trying to put in frames of cat brood to supply the nurse bees to that fresh nurse bees, and then have to go back and, when you put all that together, you got to go back. I always go back 2 to 3 days later to check out for queen cells, that voluntarily queen cells, because that hive's queenless. As long as you keep adding brood to it, they won't go laying worker on you.
Right.
But getting the population up, and it looks like I got plenty of bees, but in turn, I really don't have plenty of bees in there, I think.
Well, and that's something that it took me a long time to convince Bob to do. He'd lift the lid and it's like, see, I got lots of bees. And it's like, you got half the bees there that you should have. So, I'm going to put you on hold here. I got to take this call, Charlie. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. So that sounds like a good idea, or a great thing to have for all of us who are interested in queen rearing. James, I did have some of his documentations on some other things. He's very thorough when it comes to teaching, and I think that'll be a great help for everybody here on the chat. Anybody else would like to pop in for a little while? We're going to go about, we've done an hour already, a little over an hour. I'll have about another, let's say 50 minutes at the most, and I'll have to sign off. Hey, Ed. And all. And Brian, I'll have to agree with you there, Brian, on that. Brian's already planning places for nukes and for my queen rearing. The first step is to think about mating nuke boxes, setups for all those cells. Yeah, I made about 32 frame mating boxes myself out of wood. If I had it to do it all over again, I possibly would 3 frames. M&J wants to know whether I do OA dribble. No, I don't. I use vapor. I have a ProVap 110 when they first came out. And of course, InstaVap wasn't around at the time. And then after the ProVap, Larabi's came out with his own unit. So that's what I use. I still use it. Steve, just on the right hand side, let's see. How do you, because you're not on my, if you're on the StreamYard thing, I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm not sure how that's done. Russell wants to know whether I'll do another OA VAP this fall. Yes, I will. I will actually do 1 or 2 per month as long as the temperature is between 45 and 48 degrees. The bees should be loose clustered and all that. And I'll do that, like say about every 2 weeks or so. I try to. Sometimes I can only get one in a month. The private chat is. All right, I'll get Bob to email. Have him email my address to you, Steve. Unless you want to send it to me. Tell you what you do. Let me put my. I'm going to go ahead and put my SAWMI. There's my email address, Steve. Email me your, I'll email, send me an email and I'll send you my address to you. But, hey, Hallie. Found the term. But anyway, Russell, yeah, I will do it a couple times a month. I'm going to try. It seems to keep my mite load down to a very minimum. Some people. And Brian sees like he's Queen Castle. Yeah, now Brian, my 2-frame mating boxes are full-size frames. Like you say, it's so much nicer to go and just pull the frames out, let's say with that new queen, and just drop her into another hive. Or if I need bees to boost that little hive up for a new cell, all I got to do is go over to another hive and pull frames out of a hive and drop them into those things. Yeah, having normal size frames is the way to go as far as I'm concerned. And Randy says he's done OA last week. I only had 1 to 2 mites on sticky boards on 42 highs. Hey, that's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I don't, I'm just using it as a cleanup type thing. A lot of folks like to do a spring mite treatment. And I never really did it that way. I just kind of come to the conclusion that we need to treat our hives. And I don't never treat while the honey super's on. That's March, April, May, and June. And then I take the honey supers off. And that's when I start treating. That's something that I'm going to do next year. And too, it's like Bob was talking about his applitabs. It's a supplement, and it happens to kill a few mites along the way. That's great. I'll throw them in July while it's very hot, and that kind of a thing. Did I scope out any restaurants in Louisville? No, I haven't. I haven't really checked into that too much. I had been to Louisville years ago with a band that I was an agent for. We were at the Galt House, which is up on the river front, but haven't really seen anything that's close by there from where the hotel is. Okay, Randy, that's good. I mean, hopefully we have good results with that mite treatment program. And that's what I always try to tell my beekeepers, the beginner beekeepers in my club, is that they need to develop their own mite treatment program in order for those hives to survive and all. And that was something that um, of course, mites were new, I guess you might say, for most people, and they didn't understand them at the time. And they really didn't go through, they talked about mite treatments, but they didn't stress how important it was. Hey, Tom, and all. So, but also, uh, when I started, we didn't have Sammy Ramsey coming in, and he actually came to one of my club meetings. I had him hired to come in before he was ever a PhD, and he spoke that night, and it was like a totally eye-opening speech about, he knew exactly what was happening to our bees when they were dying, and he was saying, first thing out of his mouth was you're treated your bees too late in the season. And now that's what we all do, is treat starting in July and August instead of waiting till September. Yeah. Paul wants to know, Tom, how the weather is up there in southern Ohio. You getting the snow or any rain or whatever up that way? So, but anyway, that's what is happening here. But that's what I plan. Oh, you were back.
Sorry about that, Charlie.
That's all right.
I was actually talking to one of the guys that's helping me beekeep. He's on his way out to Edmonton as we speak, so he's bringing a bunch more containers back and stuff like that.
What do you mean, like barrels or stuff for?
No. So 3 kg and 1 kg containers. So, containers to put some of that creamed honey in. So, what do we got? I missed up a bunch of these chats here now.
Yeah, we were talking about Aprivar and our treatment, our different mite treatment protocols, what we all use, or some type of thing. And Ed here, it says it's in the 30s here in Alabama, which I find that I always thought those southern states down there were always very warm. But obviously they can get cold too. I knew I've been in Florida when they've had sometimes a frost or a really cold snap of some sort.
You're right.
And all that. But so far today was not a bad day. It was started out pretty cold, but it did warm up during the midday. Now yesterday was quite windy and all. It felt colder than what it normally does.
Got her. Well, I'll tell you, last week when I was hunting, it was fairly cool. So actually worked out good because we had we got out to the hunting camp nice and dry, and then we were out there for one day, and then it snowed about 4 inches, so you'd be able to see where the animals were moving and everything like that. And it stayed cold until we come back. So it was easy to hang the meat and everything like that too, keep it nice and clean, and so it worked out really, really well.
Brian C says he's got 30s now and 80s as the high next Wednesday. Actually, I think I did see on the news here that it was supposed to hit like 70 degrees next Monday or Tuesday, something like that. It's a roller coaster ride.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be very warm here, but they changed the forecast for tomorrow. It was only supposed to be like 2 or 3 degrees. So now they're saying +7. So Ian and Brad are going to hate me for saying this, but if it does get to +7, I'm going to mow my lawn once more for the end of the season and get all the leaves mowed up and everything like that. So that'll get the yard all cleaned up, and then I'll probably put the lawnmower away and dig up the snowblower. So
yeah, that's what Bob was talking about.
He doesn't get any snow down there, does he?
No, he has an attachment for his lawnmower for snow blade, and
What are you shopping for?
really, I'm not really sure. I was going to buy a new bee suit, but my I've had 3 different bee suits. I first started out with a regular canvas bee suit from Brushy Mountain Bee Supply, and they're of course out of business. I still have that suit, and I had to use it here for the last week or so. And then I bought a Provent bee suit from Man Lake, and that lasted for quite a while. And then 2 Hive Lifes ago, Jack, in 2022, I bought a Guardian bee suit. Well, that thing, it didn't quite last 2 years. It's about a year and 9 months or so, whatever it is, since 2020, January of 2022. And so the zipper failed on the front. I had a bunch of holes in it where I had to use Gorilla Tape on it to keep the bees out of my sleeves and everything else. So I saw Brad with that snazzy looking foxhound bee suit, as it called.
Yep. Yeah, the camel one or whatever it is.
I went ahead and ordered the darn thing here, and I got it. That was, let's see, a Monday, not this past Monday, but the week before. And I like it. I like the way the front pockets are positioned closer to the center of where the zipper is. I find it it's accessible for like putting tools in real quick and easy. And
I find that magnet. I got that magnet that I put in my pocket. I find that works far better than any pocket I've ever had. But the only pocket I use is the one on my sleeve. And
I use like one for a pen.
I was going to say that's where I put my pen. Yeah,
pen and pad. I have what would you call it? Not a pad, but let me see if I can get this straightened out here.
And then the only other thing I ever carry with me is that little pin cage, that little round pin cage. Did you ever get one of those?
What was it? Oh, you mean the Queen?
Queens? Yep.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. No, I haven't.
Oh man, that is slick. Yeah, you might occasionally skew a bee or something, but I'll skew a bee long before I risk chopping a queen in half.
Yeah. So anyway, I got that, and it fits really nice. And the only problem with all those bee suits, they're all made overseas. I mean, that's the fact. And then the arms are all.
I was going to say, I don't think the Ultra Breeze is.
I don't know.
They advertise made in America.
Yeah.
Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't.
I don't know.
Like those ones.
Doesn't really matter. I mean, the arms on that foxhound are kind of like the Guardian. They're kind of puffy. But I so far I didn't really have not been able to use it that much at all. I like the zippers on it. They're plastic. I like that better than the brass. And
there's a trick with those brass ones, eh? You know that?
Yeah, you're supposed to put graphite on there if you can find it.
Well, graphite works, but go down to the hardware store, get yourself a carpenter's pencil.
Yeah, I got plenty of them around here.
Yeah, run that carpenter's pencil up and down that zipper, and you'll never have a problem with it, ever.
So the only thing that I noticed is when you put the hood on, you have to kind of figure out how you do the zippers, as far as they kind of overlay like that. And then you put that Velcro thing down on there. And what I really like about this is they have that elastic, but it's got also an adjustable Velcro band there for your wristlets area.
Yep.
That I really like about it. It seems to be a nicely made suit. We'll see how it works all next year.
I gotta get it. I gotta get a new suit. I'm tempted to buy another. I really like the Ultra Breeze, so I even bought my wife an Ultra Breeze suit. But I'm gonna go buy myself another Flow Hive suit just to annoy Brad.
And JW Irwin, or I think it's Irwin. Yeah, he's got a foxhound jacket. Yeah, so far, JW, I like the way it fits, and I do like the way it looks. I do like that olive green. I think it's pretty cool looking and all. And the hood, I like the way the hood seems to be working. And as far as the veil part, that was the one thing I did not like about the Provent. The Provent actually had like 3 loops.
Yeah.
And that last loop kind of hangs down in front of your face right where it shouldn't be.
I don't like those ones.
I didn't care for that thing. Now the Guardian had a nice veil to it. And the veil on this one has the zipper in the front.
Yep.
And all that. So it seems to be a nice looking unit, but I'll just have to wait till springtime to really use it.
DC Bear or DC Bees. I need double of the amount of woodenware I have on hand. I came out well this year. Yeah, I hear you on that one. So actually, that was part of the phone call I just took. So we're looking at thousands of frames next year and hundreds of boxes. So expansion is great. The unfortunate part is, you stop. If you were to expand one hive, I mean, that's well, in my case, it would have to be a pallet, right? So now you got one pallet, you got 2 lids, you got 8 boxes, right? And then you got 80 frames to expand one pallet. You pretty much need, I'd say, at least 4 boxes per hive. And even at that, you might be a little tight. You might have to extract.
And I got to explain to everybody here that your boxes are all deep boxes.
All deep, absolutely, yeah, all deeps. I learned that, man. It's today Friday. It's Friday somewhere, but I learned the hard way this year. Putting bees on canola, man, did I get my butt handed to me. I never realized that they would fill, 9 full frames in a deep box in 3.5 days, 4 days. It's full. They're capping it already, type thing. Yeah. Just blew my mind. When I thought they were ready for a box, they should have had 2 or 3.
Hey, Laura. Yeah, it's not Friday. I'll see you tomorrow night too. But I just got a little.
Hail hives, the initial 10K. I'm still working inside of that 10K. Everything I sell, I put right back in. I haven't invested anything more than that $10,000. So it is a very viable plan. It worked very, very well. Now the one caveat I'm going to throw out there is I have not pulled a wage out of it, because I still have a full-time job. Everything the bees have made from that 10K, I have put back in. But everything that I have bought from that initial $10,000 investment. So I'll probably be looking at the end of next year, pulling that 10,000 back out, and the business will be 100% self-supportive, and will no longer have any, business loan from me. So it worked very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way of myself. I mean, I sell enough honey and nukes and what. I mean, I know I put in at least 10,000 into my hive setup, but over the years, I have, made that back, and now it's completely. I keep it well, like you did with your vapor, your mite treatments and stuff you did last year. Keeping good records was, you didn't think about it at the time. You were just trying to get something done. And all right, Brian, we'll catch you later. Brian C. And so I started keeping better records with a spreadsheet and all that, where I have my expenses, and I have my income as far as honey sales, nuke sales, and queen sales. And if I happen to, like this year, I happened to buy some extra uh, frames and had to buy them by the case. And um, friends of mine were looking to buy some. And I said, well, look, I got stuff here that I don't want it sitting around with where it's been pre-waxed for me to lose that potency of wax.
Yep.
So I said, here, you're gonna need a case of deep frames here. Here's a whole case. Here's an extra case that I don't really need for this year and stuff. I'd rather buy something new, which has fresher wax on it and stuff.
Well, and
So
don't get
I
me wrong.
keep track of all that, into my business. And like I say, my bees pay for all my expenses like that. I sold enough honey. The week I ordered that bee suit, it was $148 for it. I sold enough honey and then some, just, that honey sales that 1 week paid for that suit.
Yeah.
So,
now, I was just going to say, it takes a little discipline because, especially this past year, I found, because I had more capability to build way more hives than what I had for hives. So it took a little bit of discipline to not just go out and spend more money, to build more hives. I had to, basically discipline myself a little bit, pull myself back and say, okay, you know what? No, the goal was to not invest anymore, to grow these and, start again over next year. So it's, build a business plan, stick to the business plan. And then you know what you've got in. Yeah, I'm not going in the hole, right? So.
Yeah, and then Brian from Flower Street, he says that I already know how to run a business because I just apply what I know how I do my normal everyday business to my beekeeping business. And that's a situation where my son, he is taking over these hay fields and stuff for the last 2 to 3 years. And I asked him, I says, all right, well, what's your profit margin, what you've been buying it, because he makes hay, which I help him. And then also he buys hay from other people to keep up with the demand. And he's like, he said, well, I know I made, he's guesstimating,
Oh, yeah,
and I'm like, no. I said, you get a computer, or, he has, of course he does a lot of things on his phone. And now he's finally got like a bill pad, like he had several customers that he wasn't going to be here, but he had 3 or 4 coming in one day. Yeah. So he wrote out the person's name and what they were getting and how much it was. And of course he has a carbon copy of all that in this little billing pad system he has. I said, that's great, but you need to take a spreadsheet and say, okay, I bought all this hay over here from other people. This is my expense of buying that hay. This is what I sold it for. And this is my income. And then you do your subtraction, and all right, this is what actually I made profit wise. Well, I think he'll get that, but it's taking him a while to see how important that is.
Exactly. So I don't know how many of your viewers know. I mean, I have a business background as well, right? So, which is part and parcel of it. But that Excel sheet, not only will that help him know what he's making for profit, it'll also help him say, okay, you know what? I know I can sell my hay for this. I can't buy hay over X number of dollars because then I'm not making that required profit margin. And the other thing that people have to understand, and I mentioned earlier, I haven't pulled a wage out. I've kept track of my hours, but I haven't pulled a wage out. And that's, well, sweat equity. It basically is what you call that when you're putting it all in there. But I have kept track of that, and the company will eventually pay me back that as well. So I guess that is kind of a bit of a loan. So, to say the $10,000 is the cash that I put in. The rest of it is the sweat equity. And I mean, the company will pay me back that as well, because that is worth something. Problem up here is, the tax man and the accountants and stuff don't look at sweat equity as in there, especially if you're the business owner. They really don't care, so there's a few things that you got to kind of work there a little bit. But, here's a question I got. What do you got? You got 48 viewers. Here's a question that I've been struggling with. if you had a bee truck, what would you equip the bee truck with? I mean, aside from a hive lifter or something like that. And where I'm looking for there is what the viewers think. So I'm kind of making a wish list, if you would, to put on my flatbed truck. So a generator, for example. Do you want a generator on there all the time so that you can, run your oxalic acid vapors, or charge up an electric fencer or anything like that, or and I'm going down as far as smoker pellets. Do I have a container on there inside that toolbox for smoker pellets? All of these things like that. I'm kind of wondering what your viewers out there would say. Now, if Ian's watching, he should have a smoker on his truck
and a hive tool.
Yeah,
and a hive tool.
Well, I was going to say a smoker, and the key there is not a flat one. The key there is one that you can actually still work, not hang on the wall.
I do find that. Yeah, I think I do find that interesting. That I would think that smokers and hive tools would be, and then Brian says a fire extinguisher. That's a good idea. That is
a good idea. So my syrup.
Okay, that's standard DOT type stuff that you have to have.
Correct. But the syrup tank, I actually have a syrup skid that I built, and you see that on my channel. So that actually worked out really, really well this year too.
Yeah, that was a nice looking pump. And how did you get that baffle inside that hole?
You know what? And that worked so well. By putting that across the bottom of the tank, so that whole tank would basically swirl around. I ended up with zero sugar ever on the bottom of that tank.
Yeah, but how did you? I know you drilled a hole in the top, cut a hole in the top.
Yeah,
and I guess you put that manifold all together and kind of fed it down in there somehow.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly what I did, and then it's a bulkhead fitting, so that I could screw the nut on the outside of the bulkhead fitting. And, I can change that out. The reason I did that is somewhere down the line, if my tote gets broken or cracked or damaged, I can pull it all out, drill another hole in the next one, and keep using it. But boy, did that work well.
I know Brad had that mishap of his, it was a plastic pipe or something that broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure exactly what busted on that.
I was going to quiz you up, Charlie, because one of the things that I liked and actually I didn't see it off your channel. I saw it off of Brad, so I apologize. But that water meter, I think that's a great idea. So
it's everything for me is saving my back and lifting and things like that. And not that I have I've had lower back issues years ago, and I've now like this week I actually went to the gym. I got because of not as many bee obligations. I'm back to the gym. I have this summer I had sciatic nerve problems, terrible. Ooh. And because there's some gym machines that I use, abduction machines, and that helps me tighten the ligaments up in my hips to alleviate that problem. And it also alleviates the lumbar area.
You were having a hard time lifting your arm above your head or something there, weren't you?
No, I'm good there. I had some shoulder problems. Yeah. That was where if I try to push lumber up like this, it will mess up my upper back. So I try to alleviate those types of things too. But so what I was getting at is let's see, where are we going with this? Instead of for measuring the water and everything, instead of using buckets, or some people said measure it out and have a stick. You just stick down in there, bring the water up to that mark on the stick, and you're done. I actually found it off the internet myself. Some guy years ago, he said that he got this water meter for your garden hose. And I happened to go over here to Home Depot, and in the section where the gardening section is, where the plants are and stuff like that, they had them in there. I think they were on sale at the time for $10. Normally I'll say $15 or something like that. and I bought it, and I haven't changed the battery on it or anything else. And you know, it counts. If you're doing multiple fills, it will keep track of how much water you have pumped totally. You know, if you did 10 gallons here and 10 gallons there, it'll read out, say you've pumped off 20 gallons, or it shows you as it's counting it off.
Right.
And I figured it all out with the amount of water for my system is 20 gallons of water, 250 pounds of sugar, which is a little bit less than 2 to 1, but with my diaphragm pump that I have on my pump on the tank, if I actually put 2 to 1 sugar water density in the water like that, I couldn't pump it.
Oh,
So,
see, and that pump of mine, 2 to 1, no problem. I mean, we actually had to. We hardly pinched it back. Actually, we could fill a bucket in literally seconds. You know, in fact, if we pinched it back, it would come out of the end of that gas nozzle so hard and so fast it would actually blow the bucket off the top of the hive. So I mean,
oh yeah,
that thing worked great, and I got it on a hose reel with 100 feet of hose on it. So just
Brad was talking about
I just see Russell Koopman's comment up there, AC. So if he's followed my videos or Brad's at all, AC in my vehicles is optional at the best of time. Roll down the window.
But the other thing I seen with Brad, he said he needed a pressure relief valve, I think it is, where for his pump, you know, where it would overflow back into the tank, you know, when he released his gas nozzle handle.
Yeah, see, that's where I set mine up a little bit different. So it would automatically just go right back to the tank. In fact, it goes back to the tank all the time. So, you know, and that worked really, really, really well.
But is that a pressure relief valve that circulates it back?
No, it just automatically goes back. So I made sure that on that bottom agitator, that the surface area that I had coming out of there was about 15% bigger than what came out of the pump. So I think it worked out. I think there was 10 7/8 holes, 10 7/8 inch diameter holes in that pipe on a 2-inch pump. So, you know, there's more than enough there to agitate that around, and I never have to worry about overpressuring the pump. So with those holes and stuff. So it actually worked out really, really well. A little bit of quick calculations, you can figure that out, you know, fairly quickly. And then I just have a bypass there. And the way I put it in, I can pinch back the bypass to put as much as I want into, you know, into the hose or back into the tank. So that worked really well. I highly recommend those hose reels too. So in fact, I've got one for Brad downstairs here. You know, I'll take out to him next time I go out his way.
Yeah. But so anyway, my tank actually has a pressure switch on the pump, so the pump will shut down when I turn the valve off when I'm filling top high feeders. And which at one time I was using a battery, and that saved me on electricity. Now I've updated it since last year, where I just plug into my trailer hitch, the 4-prong trailer hitch for the lights and brake lights, turn my marker lights on in my pickup truck, and now I've got constant power, and I don't have to really worry about it. And but the main thing of it is, you know, if you got 30 highs and if you can drive close to it or whatever, or like you say, you have a hose reel, it just saves so. I'm all about efficiency, and it just saves so much on all that kind of stuff. There's Mr. Mark Miller.
Well,
there he is.
Hey, Mark. The way I did it
I don't know if I can talk long. This computer ain't working very well.
Well, you're looking good. I can hear
you. You're looking as good as you could look. Anyways.
How y'all doing?
Doing good.
But that pump, to give you an idea how well that worked, he could fill 40 pails at the apiary quicker than I could do oxalic acid treatments with 2 guns. So, you know, and I've got the quick measurement and everything like that. Like, it takes me seconds to do a treatment. Well, actually, I guess 3 minutes per hive. It takes me exactly 3 minutes per hive to do an OA treatment. And I had 2 guns going, so I was doing 1 pallet every 3 minutes, and he was filling those buckets up quicker than I could do the OA treatments. So that pump and hose reel worked really, really well.
So how you doing, Mark? Been a while.
I'm doing good, Charlie. Doing good.
You on the road, are you? It looks like you're in your truck.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm up here at St. Joe.
What state?
Been a long day.
Where's that at? What
I'm
state?
up northern part of Missouri.
Missouri. Okay.
About an hour north of Kansas City.
I see.
Must be winter. Mark's wearing a shirt.
Yeah. It was cool this morning when I got up. I think it was 21 degrees at home.
So
little cool.
Yeah, Brian says hi from Flower Street, Mark.
Hi, Brian.
And Russell.
Thank you, Annie.
And all.
I'm getting ready to.
She's nice enough to bring me a nice glass of water.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hi there.
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
So,
But
trying to figure it out. I got
you
the
doing?
computer
I mean,
screen going. So
what's that? What?
she was trying to figure out. I got the computer screen going behind my iPad here, so I can see the chats. But
okay.
she was trying to figure out how the heck I'm doing this. I see 2 Charlies and 2 Marks, which she was just fine with, but she was a little concerned with 2 of me's.
Russell wants to know if you're at the truck stop south of St. Joe.
Yeah. I'm at Casey's.
Casey's, right. So I'm sure, of course, queen rearing and everything at your place at home is completely shut down and all that. So your mentor, I guess was it your mentor that passed away, Mark?
Yeah, he passed away.
And then his family wanted to sell the hives. Did they get everything sold or?
Well, they were working on it the last I talked to them. Now, I don't know if they've gotten rid of all of them or not. They had somebody wanted to come in and buy it all. I don't know whether they did or not. I went by there and picked up a few things, spent what money I had in my pocket, showed them what was what and how much to get for this and that, and don't give your bees away,
Yeah, Russell.
She's pretty sharp.
Russell says, "Are you on the west side of the highway?" I don't know what that means.
Yeah. I'm at the McDonald's, Casey's. I'm on the west side.
Okay, I don't know whether Russell's close to you or not.
I'm west of the Loves in the back parking lot.
Okay,
I'm on Party Row.
Just not where the lot lizards are, right?
Yeah. They better not knock on my door in the middle of the night while I'm asleep. I pour cold water on them. Get out of here. Yeah. I'm working on some trailers. I'm gonna try to build me a trailer first. I've got a little 16-footer there I'm gonna work on first and set it up to where I can move bees around, just back up to it and strap them down and go.
So are you going to leave them on the trailer, Mark? Or?
Yeah, they'll be on there all the time.
Right on.
Oh, I'm just going to I've got a 16-foot, just a regular 16-foot trailer. It's got like a foot wall or rails around the sides. You know what I'm talking about? Foot tall rails all the way around.
High boards,
so I'm going to back up away from that. And build another rail, right? That way my bees can just set up on top of the rails.
Got her. The only thing, it does. How are you going to deal with the trailer? What I found, if you put your hives on there, even if you put them back to back, the 4 hives, if you try to put 4 hives on it all the way across, it's going to take up your whole trailer. How are you going to deal with that one? Are you going to stagger them or?
I'm not going to put them long pallets. They're going to be individual, just like you would walk down a row.
Right. But I mean, you still won't be able to, are you going to put 2 rows or 4 rows or 3 rows or?
Yeah, it'd be one row on one side, one row on the other side, and then a couple in the front.
Perfect. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. Jason
Right.
at Bohemia Bees, he has a trailer like that.
Right. It'll
There
be
was,
similar to that.
yeah, that trailer, actually, there's some trailers. I've seen it on either Facebook or wherever they're for sale for bees in his area. When I first started beekeeping, the guy who actually made them was a pollinator on the eastern shore of Maryland and in, I think, New Jersey. And I forget how many hives it would hold. He had a walkway up in the middle, where he could go up through there and
Right.
work them or whatever. And then he would have multiple trailers, and if he had to move the bees over in a field so many hundreds of feet, the problem there was he would have to go get a trailer at another location, bring that trailer in, put it at that location, and take the other one that he really wanted to move back to the other location in order for the bee orientation problem. But
Yeah.
and I know that Jason bought one of his trailers. I think he's somebody else had bought the older fellow's stuff out, and then he's switching it over to more pallet ties type of situation. And what got me was I had a guy here in the state of Maryland who has about 600 beehives. Get this, James, and he does pollination. They're not palletized. He moves each one of them. I'm like, are you kidding
Each
me?
single hive?
Each single hive,
Oh, good grief.
what, just, I mean, they might set them there for so many weeks, but still, I mean,
Well,
manhandling all them things, forget
yeah,
that.
there's a reason those pollinators put them on like 4-frame or 6-frame pallet or 4-hive or 6-frame hives. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot to lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got, I use Brad's and Ian's design. They're 2-weight pallets. And even that's still a lot to lift. I mean, until I get an easy
4-way is fine if you got a skid steer or you've got a Hummer-Bee. A friend of mine's got a Hummer-Bee, and which is 4-wheel drive forklift basically, and and all that. But some people say, all right, let's say 40,000. That's used a lot of like a Hummer-Bee. But I mean, if that's what you're doing for a part-time living, it's like, you go back to efficiency and also I always tell people, they say, well, that's a lot of money. I said, let me tell you something.
time.
I've been down with my back so bad.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't care if you have $100,000. You can't replace your back. They can't fix your back.
Yeah,
Even for $500,000, they can't fix your back to put it back the way it was before it was broken.
but even if they want to look at it from a financial end of things, Charlie, time is money. You know what? If you're going to pick up 600 hives, 1 hive at a time, or you're going to pick up 600 hives, 6 at a time, you're doing 60 lifts instead of 600 lifts. Time is money. And people have to understand, I mean, everybody on here probably goes to work, and whether you're salary or hourly, your salary is figured out, so many hours a year, you get paid by the hour. Time is money. And that's one of the things that, well, as you know, if you watch any of my videos, or we've talked about it on live chats lots, if I can save myself, 1 or 2 minutes per hive, that's hours in a week. That's, hundreds of hours in a year. And that's time that I could be doing something else.
Yeah, it's like we had
I
a
know
guy.
that very well, James. They just I've been running 75 mile an hour out here for 18 years. The last 18 years, I've been running 75 mile an hour. Last week, they cut me down to 67. I feel like I'm on a comic snapper going around a NASCAR track.
Yeah.
What's that? Because they
You
have
got a bigger
a,
truck though now, right?
if they have the governor on your truck, you mean?
Yeah,
But
they
they
cut
give
me
you-
down.
Oh, okay. They govern you. I thought you got
But
a
we
another
sold out to another company, larger company, right? So they don't
Yes.
want the liability. So
Time is honey. Yeah. No. So yeah, people have to understand. Like I said, everybody keeps asking me how I can work so many hives, and I can't. I wouldn't be able to do it by myself if I was inefficient, right?
right.
And Alan is he's learned the exact same way. So I mean, now you got two of us working those hives very efficiently. We're in and out of 40 hives in no time, and we're off to the next one. So time is money, and efficiency
See, I
is
always
worth a lot of money
I
to you.
find that interesting as far as, or if you're going into a yard, as like you say, let's say it has 40 hives in a yard. Yeah, of course, it all depends what you're doing with those hives. If you're just filling buckets or you're just vaping, you're going in and doing that one step and that's it. Or is it where you're going in there and digging into the brood chamber, depending on what you're trying to find or what you're looking for. I
Right.
presume it takes longer depending on what you're actually going to do.
Well, this is where know your bees too, right? I mean,
Yeah, you know whether they're
you're
going backwards or not.
right. You and equalizing these things early in the year. That's something that took me a while to learn, and I don't know how many of Ian's videos I watched to finally understand what he was doing, but equalizing them all out so that when I drive onto an apiary, I don't have 40 hives. I have one hive there multiplied. They're all exact or very, very close to the exact same thing. If I go there and I'm dropping boxes on, and I lift the lid off and, the first 5 are plugged right out and the next one is just about empty. I got a problem. They should either all be at the same spot or very, very close. And if they're not, I've got a problem with that hive. So I can recognize that problem very, very quickly, right? And that's the key. It's I'm not managing 40 hives at that apiary. I'm managing an apiary. They're one
Right.
hive. They should all be the same.
Right.
Or very,
And over time, you'll learn which apiary gives you the better honey production and
well,
what time of the year is better,
Absolutely. I'm quite fortunate up here. We have a lot of agricultural land, and the only thing that I did learn, like I said, I had my butt handed to me here on canola this year, but I'll be ready for that next year. But up until this point, I've really kind of focused on alfalfa and clover, like the hay fields. So there I kind of understood what it was. But with the canola, I'm going to say I need twice as many boxes, twice as many frames on a canola field, and I better be ready to pull that honey. Now I was fortunate. I didn't have any that I couldn't get out. I should say that. I think I had 6. I think I had 6 or 8 frames that I had to scrape that actually crystallized before I got it out of the canola. But that was my own fault. So I don't want to say that. But.
Yeah.
I would throw the boxes to them because they're going to fill them up quick.
Yeah.
3 days, 3 to 4 days, they're full.
I imagine they'll pull one quick too. If you drop fresh frames down there, they're going to pull it pretty fast too, won't they?
Yeah.
On that canola.
Yes. Well, they can't build the wax as fast as they're bringing the honey in. If you're waiting for them to build the wax, you're going to lose your bees.
Yeah. And like Brian was talking about there, learning to give up on a queen that's bad and replace her and remove her and replace her. That's another thing that I think a lot of beekeepers like a backyard is they want to, let's say, nurse a hive along. Whereas when you get up to a lot of hives and you have resources to draw from, it's like, okay, this hive is not working out right. We got to, you fix it by either new queen or whatever it needs to be done.
Well, I know a lot of guys, they look at me like I'm a little bit crazy. I don't have time to nurse a hive,
Right.
And a lot of people, say I pinch my queens off far too early, but I let my queens go 2 years. I watch that faithfully, and at the, she is approaching the end of year 2. She's gone. The only ones that I've kept longer than that were my breeder queens. I pinched one of those off this year. I have one left. She is definitely on the downward cycle. I'm not 100% sure. They're going to make it through the winter, but I threw her in there anyways. I figured I'd let her do that. But yeah, if I got to nurse a hive, I don't have time to nurse a hive. I'll either clean that hive up, shake them out, pinch her off, replace her, and or drop another cell or something in there and get going again, right? So is it the right way? It's the right way for me.
Well, I think that what I've started to see that same scenario, I guess you would call it, about the 2-year queen, where a lot of times, yes, she's very good going into the winter on that second year. And then,
but it's that following spring that is so important.
Yeah, well, the spring comes along, and now that she didn't make it through the winter, and that that hive is queenless. Whereas if you have a fresh queen in there, and you get, you have a queen that's going to make it through that winter on that second year, and then you get rid of her for the following fall. You don't have as many problems, I guess, is the best way to explain it.
Well, and that's why I mark my queens. I don't mark my queens so much so I know what year they were done. I know or what year they were hatched. I mark my queens so I know what year they're finished, what year they're done and they're going. And the other thing is when I throw my honey supers on up here, I don't go back down to the brood chamber. I mean, I got to get them all ready.
I've tried that, and that's one thing I have not been able to master yet, is how to, for me, I'm doing more of a demery thing where I'm pulling brood through the honey season. And I think a lot of it is your flow is at a different time than mine. And it's
short. Right?
It's short, and different things of that nature, and also the time of the year. And for me is, I go in there, I make a demery where I pull out all the cap brood or most of it, put it up, pull it out. I have the single brood chamber, queen excluder, a couple honey supers at least. And then I put that brood upstairs to let it hatch out. And she has lots of places to lay, so she's never wanting to swarm.
Yeah.
And it works out. It works for me. And then if I do have an issue down the row here, I now can go back to those other hives up on top and just pull frames of brood in order to boost the hive or whatever. And of course, there's a reason why there's a problem there. But, it's like I say, well, let's get through the honey season and then correct the problem after we get through that.
Well, and there is some of that I have to do too. But I mean, I wouldn't be able to go back and forth and pull from one and put in the other. I got to have all that done before I drop my honey boxes on, because when my flow hits, it hits.
But your flow is it's a real freight train of a flow.
Right. So I got to make sure everything is good. And then I when I, at the end of the season, so basically from about, what would it be? End of June, beginning of July. When I start throwing the honey boxes on, I'm not back in the brood chamber, and
so you see your flow starts in the end of June, correct?
Yeah, the end of June. Yeah, beginning of July.
See, my flow is in by that time.
But and my flow is done by I'm gonna say late August, early September.
So you got about a 2-month flow and you're done.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we basically have a 3-month flow, April, May, and June, and it's tapering off by the middle of June. It seems like anymore. And that also is the same time our swarm season is happening. So they're coinciding the same. So I have to kind of fight the swarm and keep the honey supers rolling too.
But you see, there's where if you have new queens, like every one of my hives out there has got a new queen in there this year. So that wasn't by mistake. That was by plan, right? Because new queens have a tendency, I'm not going to say they don't swarm, but they have a tendency not to swarm.
Right.
Right. So that gives me that much more available time next spring to work on other things, right, without having to worry about my queen swarming. And I also know that because I have all new queens, they should come out of the bee barn ready and raring to go. They should be
Right. Well, this year, all my honey boxes have pretty much all my hives. Well, all my nukes, I sell the queens every year and have new queens every year. And then my nuke or my honey production hives all have 23 queens in this year.
Yeah.
And that wasn't partially by accident per se, or because of queen issues. And that was, I guess you might say, with you helping out Bob, I went ahead and started making an effort to say, okay, these queens I know are fresh queens and they're good for 2 years. We need to get rid of them.
Absolutely. Right. So now all of a sudden you got 2 years to work on something else, provided they don't swarm or you don't lose them or anything like that. But, I'm just looking at some of these comments and that's really the key. And don't shoot me for saying this, Mark, because I know you sell a lot of queens, but if everybody could graft or make their own queens, they would be a much better beekeeper.
It makes you a better keeper.
Absolutely.
It makes you a better beekeeper.
I find grafting and making your own queens, to me, that is the most, it's sort of challenging to a certain extent, but it's fun. It gives me that new fun part of beekeeping where for me, I treat it as a game. It's between you and the bees, kind of like golf, you might say, where you graft and then you put your frame in that cell builder, and hopefully your cell builder is, right the way it should be as far as the amount of bees. And then you can say, oh, I'm a good grafter because I get 80 or 90% success rate, or maybe 100%. Yeah. And that really makes it makes you feel good. And then you take it from there and then put them in put your cells in the, into the mating boxes and stuff. And it's always wonderful to see that brand new queen. It's a great big fat girl and big long abdomen and everything. And hey, you know what? I helped make that queen,
Well, and that's something. So you just keyed in on something, and Mark is going to know this more, really, really well. But it's one thing to be able to graft, right? And choose the right larva and stuff like that. It's another thing to have the proper number of nurse bees in there. But what everybody forgets is the nutrition that those bees need to make those big fat bottom girls. It needs to be the nutrition, I'm going to say, is probably as important as having the right number of bees, and probably as important as to the larva that you select. That nutrition really, really is key to getting a good queen. The bigger not so much the bigger, the better the queen, the better success she's going to have in mating and returning, and the longer her longevity is going to be in the hive. So there's a bunch of things that people overlook when they just see everybody grafting. They don't catch on to all of the other stuff that's important or key there to making sure that queen is a good queen.
Right. If you have a lull in your flow, so like you just have a few days lull in your flow, and you've got them out there building cells, and you're not putting feed on them, they're not going to turn out.
Yeah.
If you're putting feed on them and you're giving them everything they need, they're going to do good.
Absolutely.
All it takes is 2 or 3 day lull in that flow. That's all it takes.
And you're done. Yeah. So I always make sure that I've got, even if the flow is good, I still have my starter finisher. I still have a bucket of sugar water on them. And everybody knows I use the Apis Biologics, right? And that's on there. That's on that hive pretty much from start to finish. The other thing is I see Flower Street Farms is asking how to make sure I get the best nutrition. I was saying earlier in here, when I start going through the frames and stuff like that in the spring, and I find a real good pollen frame, man, I yank that pollen frame. That's destined for my cell builder. If I'm going through and there is a good pollen flow on, Well, you got to remember all those nurse bees are in there. I'll yank that open nectar from from one hive, and I'll give it to that the starter finisher or starter hive or finisher hive, whatever it is. But I'll give it to them so that they've got fresh pollen, they got fresh nectar, they got the bucket of sugar water with the Apis biologics in there. Give them everything they need. Think of it as you want them to have the smorgasbord behind a smorgasbord, at a casino. They want to have everything that they have there so that they can feed those queens everything and anything they want.
And then some.
And then some, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I usually get some of that powdered pollen powder and mix it up with some sugar water, make a slurry out of it, and then pour that on top of the frames. And the bees will come up there and line up like a little bunch of little pigs and suck that down. And along with pollen, like you say, a good pollen frame and a good nectar frame. And then I also have a regular quart jar up there for feed on top of all that.
Yeah.
And everything.
I'm missing what Flower Street Farms let these two go down this rabbit hole. Which rabbit hole are we going down, Mark?
I don't know. I didn't catch it.
So, but no, like I said, you need those nurse bees need that nutrition, they need that pollen, and I keep a pollen patty on them too. Once again, I use the pollen patty, the whole time the nursing are on there, and never let it run out. If they ran out of pollen patty,
never let it run out.
That's because they were needing something. So make sure that they've always got a pollen patty on there. And sometimes it's hard to get that pollen patty in that hive, because if you got the right number of bees, you almost don't have enough room for that pollen patty.
Right. Yeah. You have to scoot them out of the way. Set it down.
Don't crunch them. Don't squish them. Absolutely. That's where the bee aggravator 1000 comes in, aka
there you go.
So, but it's there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of learning. I mean, I wish I could say, I learned from a mentor, but unfortunately, I had no mentor up here. My mentor has been YouTube and pestering a lot of people like Brad. I mean, I've pestered him lots, but and then trial and error. I mean, I have failed lots.
Yeah. Have you tried a hive that's fixing a swarm and making a builder out of it? Have you tried that yet?
Tried that. What do you do? Block them in?
Just, when one's getting ready to swarm, right? And you go in there and he's got cells in there. Go in there and find that queen. That's the hard part, right? Find the queen, get her, move her somewhere else, and then use all of that right there. Get rid of all them cells that they built. Give them about 5 more days or so, and then go in and check the cells again, and then put your grafts into that.
Yeah, I never tried that. That's an interesting concept.
That's the best cell builder that you can build. I'm telling you, it's already ready to swarm. It's already building cells. It's got everything it needs. It's in that mode already. All you did was took the queen away and dropped your cells in it. You waited a few days so they could build cells out of what hatched eggs is there, right? And you went in and got rid of them cells. Now you drop your cells in, and it's raring to go.
Yeah, I always try to make up my I might actually try that this year. I've always tried to make my cell builder up. I say 5 days, just in case I miss something, but. Some people will make it up a few days earlier and then go and knock those cells down. I'll go in there, 5 days, prior to, and that way I know I've got no egg in there that's old enough, right? To make it. So I've made that mistake a couple times. I'm gonna put you all on hold.
See, you're doing that process though, James. You're making them build cells, right?
Correct.
Where a hive that's already getting ready to swarm, they're already in the mode of making cells.
That's why I'm saying that's an interesting concept. They're already going.
Right.
Where you need to go, James? Or
I'm
which?
just going to put you on hold because my battery's dying, so I'm going to go grab my cord.
Oh, okay. Because I'm getting close by to shutting down here pretty soon.
Well, we'll roll the dice. Bob's out there gambling right now, so I've got 9% left here. So we'll roll the dice to see how that goes. So
all right. Well, we'll go for a few more minutes here, and I know Bruce Brown says, "Is that what Corey Stevens does, Mark? As far as how you set up your cell builder?"
He uses swarm. Yeah, when they're getting ready
Swarm,
to swarm,
that's
that's
swarm
one he
mode.
uses for a cell
Swarm
builder.
mode.
So
and all that.
how do you pronounce that? Phono?
Son of one.
Oh, son of one.
Son of one.
Yeah, that's Ed. That's Ed.
So no phono, huh?
I don't know what the heck it was there. But anyways, he's right there. He says queens have to do with timing, and my problem is finding the time. You're absolutely right. If you're going to raise queens, you might as well say you got 40 to 42 days that you are putting aside to make a queen. And if you're going to make one, you might as well make 50.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you something I've been looking at, and y'all can try it too and figure it out, because I hadn't figured it out yet. But I have found a difference in putting 5 or 6 cells in a mating nuke versus 1. Okay, but you grafted them, right? So you grafted all the same age larvae went into them grafts. Then when you pulled your cells out, put your cells in a cell protector and put 4 or 5 or 6 of them in a mating box, and tell me if you come out with a better superstar out of that one versus one that you put 1 cell in. Notice whether you come out with a better queen out of them mating nukes versus the ones that you put 1 cell in.
I'll have to try that.
Okay.
I never thought of that. You're kind of
So
thinking.
what are you saying, that they kill the inferior ones?
Well,
it's not so much the queen. It's not so much the virgin killing the virgins. Okay, a virgin will chew out the side of the cell and kill that other before it hatches, right? Mm-hmm. Basically, every one of these are going to hatch at the same time, and the virgin can't get over there to the one to chew it out if you got that cell protector on it, right? She can't kill it. So it's going to hatch unless she kills it right when it hatches.
So you're thinking the strongest one will survive then, Mark? Is that
I'm thinking the workers are killing the weakest link. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I do know from one of my members, he had an observation hive in his house. All of a sudden, the queen started chirping, and the hive went berserk with the worker bees, and they went around and started killing all the other cells that weren't, chirping. And they dug the side of the hive out and stung it. It was not so much the queen is doing the stinging; it's the worker bees.
Yeah, I've never thought about that one. I'd have to put some thought and some research into that, Mark. I don't know. I can't say whether you would or you wouldn't, or if that is or isn't the case. I've never tried it, but it's intriguing.
You cut out on me there a little bit, James.
Oh, I was just.
But I can tell you what I've done.
Go ahead.
You still there?
Yeah, we're here. We can hear you.
All right. It was getting late in the year, right? It was July and it was getting hot. So I had a builder, and I probably had 35 or 40 cells in there. And when it gets hot, they hatch out sooner, right? Mm-hmm. We all know that. And I went out there, and when I popped the lid, every one of them cells had hatched out. And they were balling queens up left and right all over that hive. So I ran to the truck, and I got everything I could and started making splits with all them queens running around in the hive, right? Well, the ones that I made splits out of that I saved that they hadn't balled up yet, I'm telling you, they're superstars versus the ones that I had done previously in the year.
Interesting.
Why is that?
Well, like I said, I'd have to do some.
Did
I'd have to
did
do
they
some
kill all the
experiment.
weakest links?
Possibly, right? But I don't know. Like I say, it's intriguing. I made a note of it here, so I'm going to try that next year just to see what happens, right?
Just experiment with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put 4 or 5 cells in a mating nuke and see if that queen that comes back mated right there is one of your better queens over the year.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. Yeah, we'll have to find out. I know I've played around there a little bit, so I've got queens from, well, basically I've got the first princess, if you will, from one of my mating queens, or my breeding queens, and what I found is I moved them from the 2 mating queens. I moved them to a different apiary where I know there was no other apiary around for about 6.5, 7 miles. And what I was trying to do there is I was trying to convince those 2 to cross, if you would, to breed with the drones from the other apiary. And now I know they'll go a lot further than that. So it was a kind of the best guess, but I was hoping to get my artificial insemination program going before I lost that other queen, but that didn't work. So I might have to see what comes up with these again, and maybe purchase another queen. But you know, it's very intriguing to think that maybe you can do some more additional selection, you know, for stronger, better queens by doing that way.
Right.
I have to play with that a little bit.
There's something to it. I don't know what it is, but you know, if you got a hive that swarms, they've got a bunch of cells in there, right? They don't just have one.
Yeah. I didn't have many swarm this year. I think I had 4 or 5. Probably my own fault too. Well,
but I'm just saying, you know, you look at a beehive, they'll have 10 or 15 cells in there sometimes.
Yep.
Right? And you know that virgin don't go around and kill all of them before all of them hatch.
Well, you wouldn't think so.
Yeah. So
yeah, you wouldn't think so.
Are they picking out the best queen? I don't know.
Food for thought. Well, if we knew everything about bees, heck, we wouldn't have this much fun on a Thursday night, would we?
All I know is all them splits that I made out of that one little old deal right there, they're all superstars, every one of them.
Nice.
Every one of them. And they were late, and they already outrun some of the ones that I done in June. Yeah. You know, so.
I wonder if the temperature had something to do with it too.
I don't know. I couldn't answer it.
I know one thing I have found is you are better to be a little bit warmer than a little bit colder. So I have seen that difference. Yeah. Even 1 or 2 degrees cooler, I find your queens come out much smaller. You know, they take a little bit longer, but they come out much smaller. So if anything, you're better to be 1 or 2 degrees warmer on the incubator than 1 or 2 degrees colder. That's for sure.
Yeah. The only problem is the hotter it is, say like in July, they hatch out a whole lot quicker. I think more like 14 days instead of 16 days.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and them all hatched out quicker, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know. They may not last either. You know, they may take off and then play out. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, unfortunately, you won't know that for a couple of years.
Right.
See you, Paul. Well, guys, it's 25 after almost. I'm going to go and call it a night, and we'll meet up here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
That sounds good, because I've got 2% left.
Okay, good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and shut everything down. Thanks for everybody coming in. Hope everybody enjoyed getting together tonight. I know Bob, he stopped by. A couple other people stopped by, so it was great. So I'm going to go ahead and end it, and we'll see you tomorrow night.